Congratulations on all the work you're doing. No doubt a heap behind the scenes to make all these things happen, so it's fantastic. Just two questions. First of all, in the leisure industry, what are your initiatives to make people stay longer, especially with perhaps, we talk about events a great deal, but golf and fishing, some of those visitors tend to be, quite affluent as far as their spend goes. And the second question is, where are you focusing on as far as your international marketing plan goes, and for what reasons?
Good questions. In terms of length of stay, there's a lot of things we try to do in our marketing in our web presentations and those sorts of things, which is all about good information. So we want to inspire people to come here, and then we want to basically give them the level of detail they need to know that there's a lot more to do here than just flicking in, taking a photo of the lake, photo of Hooker Falls, and then out. And that is still sometimes the attitude of international visitors, particularly through the trade. And we're not on the golden route, so to speak, and we've got to try and change that attitude, and that's a big part of what we're doing. One of the key advantages for us in this district is the range of regions we've got. With Turangi-Tongariro and Mangakino, there's an opportunity to get people to stay longer, and that's one of the key ways I think we can increase our length of stay. Is we've got that diversity in the region, we might as well make the most of it and get people to stay longer. So that's one way to do it. The other one is really through good marketing tools, good imagery, good video, a lot of activity around social media. Our blogs are a good example. We've got fishing, we've got hiking and walking, cycling type blogs, we've got Rugby World Cup blog now, and events. So if we can sort of use those tools to tell people about what's going on and keep it fresh and updated, then that encourages them to stay longer as well.
And are you working collaboratively with local industry on that, for instance, likes of Wairaki Terraces and those kind of groups?
Yeah, I think Wairaki Terraces...
focused.
Yeah, we probably haven't had Wairaki Terraces has been going through a little bit of a rebuilding phase, but I did catch up with their director recently and just had a chat about the new things that are happening there. So that is going to be a key push for us in terms of those international trade relationships. I've got 2 staff that have just left to go to Australia for basically a workshop with key wholesalers in Australia for 2 days. So they'll be talking through all of the different things about our region. We've got to get the message across that we're definitely a major international destination. We've got capacity and guest nights and those sorts of things. And you'd be surprised at times talking to some of those people, their level of knowledge about our region, and we've just got to keep hammering away until we get that recognition. One of the other things we're looking at closely at the moment, and this is sort of from a strategic point of view, is internationally we are putting a lot of effort into Australia because that's kind of delivering the greatest sort of results at the moment. But we have to be careful we don't rely on that. One of the things that frustrates me is that we get 66% of international visitors into Auckland, yet we probably realistically get about 160,000 international visitor arrivals into Taupo. So that's not including all of the guest nights, but it just shows you that we can do better there. And one of the things we're going to do is target in the coming year what we call the active traveller. So that's the people that are either coming in through Australia or inbound for New Zealand, dual destination, or the ones that actually have landed here. Our research shows that a lot of them don't understand, they haven't made up their mind exactly where they're going. So we need to focus on them. We know they're in the country. Part of our strategy is going to be to funnel them down to here and do a better job of that.
Thanks for the presentation. I've just got a series of quick questions around the figures and some of the details of the website. Page 2/10, it states you've had a 1% growth. So just to confirm if I'm correct, extrapolating from that, it also says on this bit of paper here, the marketing program, that we've had 126,000 visitors since August. So if I'm correct, that means we've had an increase of 2,600 visitors in that time, which works out about 600 a month extra visits to the website. Is that correct, roughly?
It sounds about right.
Yep.
Without sort of looking at the figures, may be a total visits stat here on this page.
Yep, it's the total.
Because I think this one is unique visitors in terms of that 1% growth. So.
Oh no, it says 1% growth in total visitors and 4.8% in unique.
Oh, that's good.
So, given that, how much have we spent on developing the website?
So far, we've spent about $45,000 in terms of the new website build, and I guess we invest through some ongoing development costs, or I guess management costs in terms of social media, web content, those sorts of things.
So the initial investment, or the investment up to now, has been $45,000, and is there a budgeted ongoing investment for that in the next 12 months?
There will be. I can't give you the exact figures, but it depends if you're talking about website marketing or website development. They're two different things.
Exactly.
As I say, we're spending $24,000 on AdWord campaigns in Australia. So that's, I think, if I put that to a side, we still are going to be investing, money in our website. But I think what you'll find now is we've built the structure and foundation, and now we're putting money into the content and making it work for us. So that's kind of a change of approach.
Okay, so just to clarify, $45,000 on building it, and up till now, $25,000 still to be spent on AdWords.
Well, I think you could say that each financial year we're spending that on AdWords in Australia.
Yep.
And probably upping the ante on AdWords in New Zealand. One of the things we've noticed is that the Turangi-Tongariro area, doesn't have a strong optimisation presence, and we're targeting that now through domestic AdWords and also optimisation of the site through better content.
Okay, thanks.
Once again, I love the branding. Just a couple of things like Taupo Market's obviously really strong school holidays. I see you've been targeting the school holiday thing. Are you targeting the Australian school holidays, which sort of just sit slightly aside ours, which means we get a sort of extended holiday period for the school holidays? That's one question. And the other one, is the ski industry also are they buying as a partner, or is the ski industry doing its own total marketing, or are they becoming part of the branding?
Sure. I think it's fair to say, I'll just answer the first question was school holidays here in Australia.
School holidays
in
New Zealand, but whether it's an Australian thing.
Yeah. Our current approach to school holidays in Australia is really, it's more around the PR work that we're doing. So it's probably fair to say we haven't got targeted school holiday campaigns right now. Looking ahead for the year that's coming, we had an industry function the other night with a lot of operators around, and there was a couple of initiatives like that mentioned. So I think it is important. The previous regions I've worked in, we had taken advantage of it as well. So I think definitely we should be in there. In terms of the other area, which was ski industry, that basically there is a major winter push through Central Park this year. That's mainly been driven out of from Ruapehu Alpine Lifts, Rotorua and Ruapehu. What we're going to be doing is through our PR work, we're going to be putting some articles in around ski, and I think you'll find that next year we'll be contributing to that through Central Park.
Any more questions, please? Okay, maybe it's a little comment for me, I don't know, but I share the Taupo Airport Authority with Councillor Johnson, and just my half full cup attitude all the time. Airport figures are 30% up on last year. 30% up on last year. That extrapolates to bums on seats. I just wonder if it would be prudent, where it's great listening to all this stuff, and I'm probably a bit of a short story guy, but I really would like to see two things. I'd like to see, and you're autonomous from us, so we have no actual control over you, but I would dearly love to see that there were 10 perhaps key indicators in this town chosen, and it could be Suncorp Maroon, BP, McDonald's, Turangi Crossing, 10 key indicators, so we can just look quickly at a graph, 3 monthly or something, up, down. I don't know what their figures, their turnovers are, up 1%, down 1%, up 3%, down, because there's certain things that change in life that affect certain places and not others. I've done a lot of leather soul walk around this town over summer, and on a whole it's been a brilliant summer. Some of the people that get a lot of income perhaps off, shall we say, over in the continent with OEs might be down a bit. Locals have been up a lot. But I think we just need some key performance indicators that we can be reliable, like McDonald's or somebody, these sort of people, so we can just put it out there and go, what are the facts? But the second part is not really a question. This one's a bit of a question. A little bit of homework that I do, and I do care about the Taupo District, and I'm passionate about it, and I'm sorry if I tread on some toes in doing it. But in 2001, on this lake, there were 80,000 fishing licences issued. This year, there will not be 45,000 fishing licences issued. That goes somewhere in Department of Conservation. Secondly, we now have the only lake in New Zealand, or in the central North Island, and that's including all the Rotorua lakes, that has a ramp fee launching charge, and it's been raised from $3.80 to $8.40. How does Destination Great Lake Taupo perceive that this is having an impact on visitors to this district? Because I know for me, I came here to go trout fishing. That was a long time ago. So what are we going to do about it? Are we going to see a submission from your good folks about, because do you not think this is having an impact on our visitor industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's I think where we can, we'll try and influence those things, and it's really a case of it is lobbying the right people at the right time. Trying to build up our relationships with the Department of Conservation and other key agencies out there. So,
do you think it's a relationship thing between you and Department of Internal Affairs that will stop them from putting these ramp fees up from $3.80 to $8.40?
I think what we can do is perhaps, through our visitor surveys and other things, if we pick up the intelligence there that says people are finding that Taupo is overpriced, or that they're particularly frustrated about that aspect, or that the fishery is no longer what they thought it would be, we can probably feed that back to council and back to these other agencies.
I look forward to that feedback.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if there's no other questions, I'm going to take you folks, before I thank you, and I'm going to do that, back to page 2/2, and there's actually 4 resolutions listed on page 2/2, and I would ask that my councillors consider that we address this as 1, 2 and 3, and that resolution number 4 we leave for later in the meeting today in our annual plan discussions. Councillor Henderson, you had your hand up?
Yeah, there was just 2 quick issues I wanted to raise about this. One's the website. I just wanted to revisit that, because I just ran the figure.
Finished with questions. Are we going back into question time?
Well, I didn't think we'd come out of it, sorry.
Well, I left it to myself last because I had any more questions. There were none, so I had my little final chapter, but I'll allow you back in.
Well, it's just my question about the value of the website, really, because as I understand it, we've spent $69,000 plus possibly some other costs, and during that period, essentially it translates to 150 extra visits a week to the website for that spend. So I just question whether that's good value for money, really.
It's just like I said before.
Is that value for money? Is that the question?
It's all right if I address it?
Yeah.
For me, it's about, as I said, when I came into this role, I looked at some of the marketing tools that were present. I looked at our video. The quality was terrible. We didn't have volume. We didn't have sound on the DVD. Tried to fix that. I looked at our website. We were getting a lot of complaints about the difficulty people were having navigating around it, and also, we had some goals around the website that we wanted that to perform. Ultimately, your website is your best marketing tool for RTO internationally. It's open 24/7 to people from all around the world to come and visit it. There's a couple of challenges. One is getting them to come to the site, and then the second one is getting them to stay on the site, get interested and book trips or packages or experiences. So I consider it to be, we're at an early stage in the journey, and our site's been up for about 6 to 8 months. As I said, we've changed our URL, which is a major change for a website. We're rebuilding the links to all of the other industry and tourism sites out there. So, yes, I think we can do a lot better for that investment, but I think you'll see over the next sort of 6 to 18 months that investment really coming through, particularly as we get the resources to really focus on the content areas. I mean, as I said, that transition we went through as a board was huge, and I had a couple of staff changes at the end of last year, right on the brand launch and everything else. So we've been scrambling to keep up, to be honest, and I now feel like we've got a team in place with the professionalism and the ideas to drive this investment. So I look at it more over a 3-year term rather than just say, over that time frame, I'm sure we'll get our value back.
Thanks. No more questions? Okay, well, moving on. Before I thank you, let's get to the suggested resolution on page 2/2. Now, there were 4 suggested resolutions here. I respectfully ask and see if I have any support with this, is that we move suggested resolutions 1 to 3, and that we leave suggested number 4 for our annual plan discussions, which are later in the meeting today. Councillor Downer?
Does number 3 link to number 4 though? I feel so. I appreciate the chairman Seamus in his last comment addressing the remuneration. He says that the total cost for the DGLT being $42,000 per annum will be met from existing budgets and will require no increased funding. Yet they're asking for $100,000.
Yes, they are 2 separate items. The DGLT trust deed that Council set up allowed the trust to actually set a remuneration fee. So, and as I understand it, that basically the remuneration is really about putting forward a very professional board who will be working with the stakeholders out there in the community, whereas the 100,000 is around the domestic campaign. Now, if the 100,000 doesn't come through from council, the issue of remuneration still is there, and as I understand it, that's something that the board will still be continuing doing, because that's addressing another issue.
So the $100,000 in number 4 has no bearing whatsoever on suggested resolution number 3. If we move 1 to 3, yes, then that's moved and done. Yes. If we give them another 100,000 later on in the annual plan process, probably on the same basis as last year, that input from the the industry, that just expands your promotional budget.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So is that clear for everybody? You worried there, Councillor Craig?
No, I think it is related, but
well, can we put a little bit of faith in the Deputy Chief Officer?
Just again, a little bit of clarification. It's actually up to the board to set their own remuneration. They only are coming here for your endorsement. The board is absolutely able to set their remuneration regardless of what council determines.
You don't need to vote on number 3, yes, ma'am.
You don't have to vote on it, but just like you do with the Late Taupo Protection Trust, that comes to it's always polite to actually talk to your creating authority in relation to your remuneration.
Sorry, Mr. Chair.
Look, they can do it anyway. They're just looking for your support at the end of the day.
And that's where I say they are related, because at the end of the day, if we don't support the 100,000 later on in the annual plan, then that's coming out of their budget, the extra money, isn't it?
No, it may not. I mean, they may choose to put a lesser campaign in.
We actually did have a second part to our presentation. Unfortunately, the half-yearly report went a little bit longer than planned, which covers off our key strategic objectives on the statement of intent and gives a little bit more detail on that. So I'm not sure if we've got time to run through that, which may make a difference.
We had a big day today, and that was a long presentation, I can assure you. How long would it take, Ms. Gilbert? Hang on,
5 to 10 minutes.
Sorry?
5 to 10 minutes?
We'll do it. Let's do it.
Okay. Yep. Okay, so basically the statement of intent has provided the board with a timely opportunity to review the direction